Good evening and welcome to Inspire to Achieve Global TV. And thank you for joining me this evening in the Executive Suite. I'm your host, Roxanne St. Clair, and delighted to be back here with you on this winter's evening. So the week has begun. How has it started for you? Has it started as planned, or has it been totally different to what you expected and you've had to be rather creative and resourceful today? So, as you know, I love this to be an interactive space for us to connect, share ideas, talk and discuss matters and help each other. So do, like, comment and share, and continue to share your info and ask questions, because that's how we all learn, that's how we all grow. So it's quite interesting because when I was deciding what to discuss with you this evening, there was a few things that came to mind. And then I thought, this is the Executive Suite. It's the place where leaders, executives, senior managers come to relax, come to recharge their batteries, and to really just sort of get back in grip with where, reconnect with their mission and their goal. And it then came to me that, what's something that many people in positions of leadership deal with but don't necessarily talk about? And I will come on to tell you what the subject matter is today, but I'll just acknowledge the day because it's the 5th of November. And if you're in the UK, you may well be celebrating fireworks tonight with fireworks, because we acknowledge Guy Fawkes on the 5th of November and have sort of lots of firework displays. I know there were many going on over the weekend, and traveling back on the train on Saturday. And, you're on the train, all of a sudden, at the corner of your eye, you just see this plume of color and sparkle in the skies, lighting up the night sky. And the same again yesterday evening, but it wasn't so much the sparkles that were lighting up the night sky yesterday evening. That did happen, but it was the booming and the banging and the sounds. And we were inside, and when they started up, because people quite local to us were probably had guests around and were having fireworks displays. And that initial bang was that jump, and then realizing, oh yeah, it's fireworks. People are, doing their displays this evening. And there were lots of that. And that could be something similar to when you go into a new role. You go in full of expectation, and it's like the big bang because you're going to be so fabulous, and you're, looking forward to this role because there's all the dazzle and the sparkle around the title and whatever that position is. But then you get there and you start doing the work, and you start mixing with other team members and maybe people in departments, or if you've started a business, you start dealing with clients, or you're looking for clients, and suddenly, you start sort of second guessing yourself, and you start wondering. And that wonder, it could be part of what tonight's topic is, which is about imposter syndrome. You may have heard of it before, and I know definitely in the coaching world, it's a term that's used, because many people suffer from imposter syndrome. And it stems from feeling that they're not quite up to the mark because they're judging themselves and assuming that other people may be judging them. And in doing so, they're never totally relaxed and totally comfortable in their role, because, they're expecting at any minute they're going to be caught out, they're going to be found out. So they've got to keep this, this parody going. They've got to keep undercover, because when they get found out, then they won't be in that role anymore. So, can you imagine if you're in a role and you're constantly expecting to be found out, you're constantly feeling that you're not worthy of that role? How effective will you be? How will you function in that role if you're always second guessing yourself, always looking over your shoulder, always thinking that somebody is going to find you out? Can you relax? Can you do your best? Or do you just sort of shrink within yourself and shrivel and stop giving yourself permission to blossom in that role? And that's what imposter syndrome is, and that's what imposter syndrome does. But you know what the funny thing is that if you gave yourself a chance, you're more than likely to do a fantastic job. Because if you really sort of commit to the role and trust yourself, unless you've literally gone for something that you have no experience in, no clue about, then maybe you will get found out. But if it's something that, even if you know 70% of the role, you can, do a fairly good job. If you were taking an exam, in some subjects, that's an A. So, if you give yourself that same chance when you're performing a role, when you're speaking to a client, maybe you could actually surprise yourself and really perform well. So I will urge you that if you've ever been in a situation where you feel you don't belong, where you feel that you're not worthy, I encourage you to really think about why you took that step in the first place, why you felt that you were right for that role, why you felt you were right to speak to that client, to really know, who are you? To really think about that. So who are you as a person, but who are you in that role? And really pinpoint and get down to that factor. Because when you know who you are inside out, and then you bring in yourself, your whole self, to that role, and you actually give yourself time and an opportunity to function in that role, you can actually do something pretty miraculous. And your way of thinking may be different to somebody that's done it before you, but maybe that's the difference that's needed. I know, for example, on a recent venture that I've been on, I've been speaking to lots of potential clients and, like, say, new clients regarding things that they've done. And when I find out that, they've paid this person X amount to receive certain types of training, they've paid another person another amount, but yet they still haven't moved further on to where they need to go. But we can sit down together and have a conversation and get to the core of who they are and the core of what it is they're looking to do, and put steps in place that they actually engage with. And for me, the greatest gift of working with somebody is when I see their eyes light up, when I feel their energy increase, and we know that we've hit their hot button and they're ready to move forward and take the next step that they need to take in order to achieve what it is they want to achieve. For me, I know that conversation was worthwhile. And this is one of the things where I say, sometimes you have to bring something different to the table in order to get new results. Because if you keep doing what everybody else has done and you're just, continuously following an old pattern, whether you've created it or someone else has created it, then what is really going to improve? What is really going to change? So rather than giving yourself a hard time about whether you're up to the mark, whether you fit in, maybe look at, really what is that extra value that you're bringing to the table, that difference that you are bringing to the table that is going to make the difference. And, even if you don't know everything, I mentioned before, you may only know 70% of the role or 70% of the process that you're going to follow through with your clients. But you can always get new skills. Where you feel that you're not adequately trained in a particular area, acquire new skills, because that is part of your continuous learning. That's part of your growth in order to, to elevate yourself, to expand who you are and be a fuller expression of who you are. It's only by looking at how you can improve, where your extra 30% growth could be, that you'll start to expand and expand. And then you realize that the more you're expanding, the more there's room for you to expand. Because unlike a balloon, you're not going to pop when you get to a certain size. What you're doing is you'll be making space for you to continue to grow so that you can actually have more that you can share, more that you can contribute. So if you've ever suffered from imposter syndrome, look at the opportunities that are there for you for expansion, the opportunities that are there for you to offer something different, because your difference could be the difference that is needed. And if you're looking and working on your own growth, then by doing that, what you can then do is encourage others to grow, encourage others to continue to grow. Because if people around you are continuously growing and working on themselves, then what that means is that if you're a progressive person, you too want to grow. You too want to be enhanced because you want to be able to continue to support other people. And yes, there will be times when people that have come in behind you will overtake you, but that's fine because that's their path, that's their journey, and that's what they're supposed to do. And, they say leaders create leaders. So if you are a true and natural leader, then being in a role where and somebody's trying to call me, and let me just cancel that. Right, so let me come back to where I was. So sorry for that, that little interlude. So as I was saying, if you're a leader and you want to grow leaders, you have to be prepared for people to surpass you. You have to be prepared that there will be people that have come after you that will go further than you. And if you're a parent, my belief is that as a parent, what you do is you set the foundation for your children to surpass you. And, that is what probably one of your biggest leadership roles is in nurturing a family and encouraging them to be the full expression of who they're meant to be. Because can you imagine if we had children and our children did less than we did, and that continuously happened throughout society? Would we be where we are now? No, because we would have been going backwards. So it's the same thing in your organization. If you're starting a business or creating a business, just imagine that you start a business and you may start out as a solopreneur, so you're doing everything. And then you may bring in an apprentice and you teach them and you train them. But what they do is they get so good at what they're doing that they're even better than you. But they remain within your organization. Can you see how that's beneficial to you? To have had somebody come in behind you, but to grow and grow and grow, and then feed back into your business so that your business is even better than it was when you started it. That is the mark, and that's the role of being a leader, that you can create and nurture other leaders so that people can surpass you. And sometimes they'll drag you along with them, because especially if you like the team, you like the people that you're with, you will keep growing, you will keep training, you will keep elevating, so that you're each like your stepping stone. So one goes up, takes a rung up the ladder, then the next one takes a rung, and you keep doing that. And so you're all growing, you're all raising, you're all lifting. And let me just say hi to a few people. So hi, Sheldon. Hi, Richard. Thank you both for joining. So, that is one of the fundamental things of being a leader in a role. So if you ever feel that you're suffering from imposter syndrome, just look at the opportunity for growth. Look at the opportunity for expansion and take the actions that you need to take in order to ensure that you're no longer that imposter. So that is, that's key, I think, for people in that position. Now, I know, for example, and I've heard recently that a lot of women in senior positions do suffer from imposter syndrome, and they feel that they don't measure up. They feel that, they may not be good enough. They feel that they can't be themselves in that role because they have to be something other than who they are. And sometimes that actually does them a disservice, because they're never relaxed, they're never comfortable, and then confusion sets in as to who am I? What am I about? Why am I here? Whereas if they were always authentic and true to who they were as they went into the role and as they grew in the role, then it's easier for them to maintain that sense of self. And I've had conversations recently with a few people who, again, have dealt with women, particularly women in quite, should we say, some of the traditional professions. And they feel that they cannot, as a woman in that profession, it's challenging. So they have to try and act like a man or act like the men. But I actually challenge that and feel that as a woman going into these professions, now, as you know, if you follow me and you join me in the executive suite, you know that I'm from an accounting background. And even now, I tend to work predominantly around a lot of men. I've never felt the need to try and be one of the boys. I've never felt the need to say, okay, forget my femininity. Although I must admit, I do have a lot of masculine energy because I am a bit sort of outspoken, no nonsense, and I like to get tasks done. I'm quite methodical. So from that sense, I do not feel that I have to pretend to be anything that I am not. If anything, I probably end up being mum because people want to come and talk to me. People feel comfortable and feel that it's okay to come and have certain types of conversations with me. There's no judgment, there's no repercussions. It's just, an ear or somebody that can help you look at things objectively. And when it's done, it's done. So, if you're a female, you're watching this, you're in quite a senior role. It's okay to be a woman in those roles. It's okay to be connected to your femininity. I'm not saying flaunt it, but I am saying, remember, you bring something else to the table and you could be enhancing the team rather than taking away from the team. And as long as you know your boundaries and you maintain those boundaries, you stay within your boundaries, then you can actually enjoy the role and create a different kind of space, environment, and energy for growth and progression. So that just came up, and I thought I'd share that because I think it's something that's quite important and often doesn't get discussed in this kind of forum. So I'm just going to read some of the messages now. And Richard, I see you're in here and you're active. So you're saying, okay, so right, okay, brilliant that you're open to all kinds of collaborations. And that's brilliant because, again, as I've just mentioned, different energies and different ways of thinking bring a different cohesiveness. And it may be that sometimes you need different thinking in order to get the results that you want. Because, we tend to have a particular way of being. And without seeing things from another perspective, from another viewpoint, what can happen is we're so used to doing things how we do them that we miss opportunities. We miss out on opportunities for growth. And as you know, I'm all about growth. I'm all about progression. So if we only believe and go on what we know, how do we expand? How do we grow? How do we become a full expression of who we are? So that's my question to you, who's viewing. And again, remember to like, comment, and share, because I think if one person actually gets a nugget from today and it helps, then that will make me happy, because I think with shows like this, it's not always the whole expanse of the show that people need. There could be one nugget for one person, and they may be going through something right now, because none of us know what anybody else is going through. But if I can help one person get a nugget that helps them to deal with a situation that they're currently in, then I think it's worthwhile spending this time for us to connect and have this conversation. So I've mentioned the imposter syndrome. What I would like to talk about actually is something that we started on Friday. Well, we kicked off on Saturday, but it was first mentioned on Friday, which was our 59 days of successes. And again, it's all tied in with growth, and potential. So those of us that were on the show together on Friday evening, we discussed our 59 days of successes, because there were 59 days from last Saturday to the end of 2018. And the idea is that each day we recognize and acknowledge a win for the day. I've now actually created a Facebook group, which is the 59 days of successes. So if you want to take part, it's not too late, because we're not at the end of the year yet. So even if you get one success between now and the 31st of December, you're still winning. So I've created the group now, and the idea is that every day you post your win for the day in the group. I had originally said private message me, but I thought it's easy to have it in the group. And by posting that win in for that day, it's a way of acknowledging how you're moving forward. It's a way of acknowledging all the things that you're actually accomplishing. Because sometimes in life, we do and we do and we do, but we do not acknowledge that we're doing. So the idea is that we acknowledge that we're doing. Because if you imagine that, and okay, we've looked, a few days have gone, as I say, it's even 57 days. If you imagine that between now and the end of the year, you have 57 successes, 57 wins. Can you imagine how it will feel when you get to the 31st of December, the year has ended? Will your year feel like it was a year that was worthwhile? Will it feel like it's a year that was well lived? It will. So that's the whole idea about it. Otherwise, you get to the end of the year and you feel, like some people may feel, thank God that year's over. But why, be given the opportunity of each new day and not make something great of that day? So as I said, it's not too late to join. You can either private message me each day with your win, or let me know if you want to join the group. And the group is actually called 59 Days of Successes. It's a closed group, so it's only the information is only going to be available to people that are in the group, not to anybody else on Facebook, because I think it's still a personal space. But I really would like to encourage you to take part, because I like to be around people that are having successes. I like to be around potential. And it's about just being consistent, because I think if you have that consistency where you get in the habit of acknowledging your wins, acknowledging your successes, what you do is you're conditioning yourself to expect to win, to expect to be successful. And, you create that snowball effect, and you're building up that momentum and that momentum and that momentum. No, if I can speak English. And by building it up, what you're then finding is that it becomes your way of being. You're looking for opportunities to win. You're looking for opportunities to say, yeah, we've got another success. And you're not sitting down waiting, thinking that life is passing you by. So, if you're not joined yet, do join, but take part. Don't just join and sit there and like other people's comments. Share your wins, because it's about you. It's not about anybody else. It's nice that you like other people's comments, but it's about you acknowledging your own win. Now, I'm not going to be responding to anybody's comment. I will like them, and I'll either do a like or a heart, but I'm not going to actually respond and make a comment on anybody's win for that day, because it's not about that. It's just about you acknowledging your own win, but because you're doing it in an open space, that gives you that element of accountability. Because sometimes if we tell ourselves we're going to do something, we can put it off till tomorrow. We can put it off till later. But if you're accountable to somebody else or a group or your mastermind, you're more inclined to actually do the work. You're more inclined to take the action. So I'm encouraging you to take the action. Celebrate your wins between now and the end of the year. Either private message me or join the 59 Days of Successes group. And as you can tell, I'm getting quite passionate about this because I'm getting excited, because I really want to see everybody that connects in this executive suite end the year strong, end the year feeling good about yourself, end the year feeling that, yeah, I'm ready for 2019 and I'm really going to make something special happen in 2019 because I started the work back in 2018. And that is really what I'd love to see happen for everybody in this executive suite, because I think you're all awesome. And I really appreciate that you take the time to come and join and connect and to comment. So I'd really like to see you up there, elevated, and with that momentum building. So your snowball's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're having more impact. Now, let me see. I just need to check the time because I can chat. Oh, okay, I've still got a little bit of time. So yeah, so that's really, the key things I really wanted to go through with you today. Let me just see some of your messages. And Richard, you're on fire tonight. So, okay, so what did you say? So you watched the live talking about how money works and why the rich get richer. Collaboration, hedge fund managers, joint venture partners, and angel investors. Okay, fine. And so, okay, so you're looking to secure 12 property deals, 12 HMOs. Have you got a time scale on that, Richard? And okay. Right, so yeah, so you know what? That's nice that you're putting that out there. So where's your plan? And how are you working that plan? And remember, it's not always about the big, humongous win. It's the baby steps that you take to achieve a win or a goal, but then create into the big snowball. Because Richard, I'm speaking directly to you now. You can start with one HMO. And having worked with clients who have done HMOs and have done the conversions, I know what can happen. And if you've not done it before, I would urge you to start with one. Have that success under your belt, because that will be your testing ground. That will be where you learn the tricks of the trade. That will be where you see what the potential pitfalls are. And even if somebody else is managing it for you, that's even more of a reason to start with one. So you start with one, you have the time scale within which you'd like to see it completed and accomplished, and then and then when you do it, because remember, you're taking one property, you're dividing it up into however many units, so whether it's 5, 6, 7, 8 units, those 5, 6, 7, or 8 units all need to be let. And it's when you've got full occupancy and it's generating that income for you, you know that it's working. But if you're trying to do 10 in one go, so in one go, you're trying to find 80 residents. Can you see the difference between finding 8 and finding 80? Can you see the difference in the stress levels? And if you've never done it before, so if you do it with one, and then you'll see that, okay, the property's got 2 tenants, got a few more, and you can see how much time it takes in order to do that. So I would always implore you to do your testing ground with one, because I can guarantee you things never go exactly how you expect them to go. And then moving on from there, you know what you've learned. So then the next one should be quicker to do, because the hurdles have already been jumped. And then you get your snowball effect from there on and there on and there on and there on, because then you know any potential pitfalls. You know anything that somebody that's managing it for you is likely to come back and tell you, and you can prepare yourself for that. But if you go in blind and you're totally relying on somebody else to do it for you, and you've got 10 on the go, do I need to say any more? So that's just my advice. But it's your decision at the end of the day. But what can you bear? How much stress can you take on? And how much risk do you want to work with? So bear that in mind, and enjoy the process. That is the key as well. Enjoy the process. So I know you've commented on here. Okay, Richard, we will speak in 59 days, and you can share your experiences with me. It'll be interesting, an interesting conversation. So yeah, at the end of the day, we do what we feel is right for us, and just wishing you every success with it, and yeah, enjoy it. So yeah, now I'm thinking, just want to make sure there's nothing burning that I'm going to cover with you, otherwise I am going to wrap up on that note. So actually no, I'll end with a card today, so I'm just going to take one at random and see which one we get. Okay, Richard, I think this one was pulled for you too, and it's called Yield. Maintaining an element of flexibility in your approach allows you to yield and explore the possibility of identifying otherwise untapped potential in yourself and others. Be specific about the direction in which you want to go, whilst acknowledging that you may have to change course to get there. So I hope that that resonates with you in some way, that you can gain something from that. And, I will just end on that note, because I think that says it all. So there's no need for me to say any more. So thank you for joining me this evening. Do remember to like, comment, and share, and have a fabulous week. Keep sharing those wins, or noting your wins at least. And I look forward to joining you back here on Friday evening. Now, there may be a slight change, because I do have a big event on Saturday, which is the Commonwealth Fair. So I know we have some testing and venue visits to do Friday evening. I'm not sure the time is yet, but I do hope to be back here with you on Friday at 8. If I'm not going to be here, I will put a note out so that you know that I may have to miss it, but hopefully we'll be together. So have a fabulous week and enjoy the rest of the evening, and just stay awesome. Bye for now.